Thank you.
Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good afternoon. Boleh dengar saya ya?
Ya, can hear. Boleh
Okay,
dengar.
good. And you can see my slides?
Ya, boleh nampak. Can
Well,
see.
good. Okay, again, welcome to the class. This is our third class or third seminar on the topics of undergraduate projects. Yeah. So I'm glad to be here and I'm glad to see all of you here again. This is part of our effort to improve the quality of our undergraduate projects. Mainly from the beginning, we have tried to make sure that you understand the problem formulation. That means the undergraduate projects are actually research projects, so you need to formulate the project objectives. Yeah, remember all those problem statement, objective, significant scope, and so on. I hope you still remember those and apply that in the writing of your proposal, of your draft one, and also in your final presentation later. So for today, we will concentrate more of the presentation and defense of undergraduate projects. So yeah. Okay. I hope you can see this one. This is UGP1 marking scheme. Ini kira soalan bocor lah. Right. Soalan bocor which I'm sharing with you something special. You have never seen this before and maybe you'll not be able to see it again. This is what we lecturers, evaluators see in our marking scheme. So our marking scheme or our rubric for us to give marks to you, we see this one. For example, for UGP1, presentation is 30% of your total marks. So if you did very well, you do very well in your presentation and you get 30, so you are on your way to passing mark already. Yeah, so but if you do very poorly or you do not present, then you lose 30% of the total marks of 100. Okay. So if you see what's the content inside this, you see the first one, the problem identification, objective, scope of work, 4.5%. That's what we did in our seminar, the first seminar. We guided you or gave you some tips how to uh, define the problem, how to identify the problem, how to write objectives, the scope of work, and so on. So that's we did that one. And the review literature. So it's 4.5%. So this two is already 9%. Also, we have covered that in our previous previous seminar. Okay, in the first seminar, in fact. And we also mentioned about methodology and work planning. So today we are going to look more towards the presentation. Of course, all this one is actually on your presentation. So you must make sure that your presentation contains the correct problem identification, objective, scope of work. You show your literature review, you show your methodology and work planning, proper one. Not only you show, it's a proper methodology work planning as what we have discussed before in previous seminars. And then the quality of slides. Some people they present the slides which is very readable. If you present your slides without quality or which is not readable or we cannot follow, the evaluators cannot follow, then they may not be able to see proper problem identification. You did not present your proper literature review maybe, but you even if you write those things, but your slides are not up to standard in terms of font size, for example, very small, we cannot read, so we cannot see your literature review. We cannot understand your problem identification. We cannot see your methodology. yeah, and work planning. So quality of slide is not only on this one. On the quality of slide, you get 4.5%, but it is also your quality of slide will define the above points. Okay, if your slide is very poor quality, we cannot see what you are writing or what you're presenting, then you are going to lose all the points, the above points for literature review, problem identification, and so on. So it is very, very important to prepare good slides, not only to score the quality of slide there, 4.5%, but also to make sure that the evaluators can follow the top 4 items. Yeah, problem identification, review of literature, methodology, and work planning are presented on your slides. If your slides have very low quality, then we cannot follow that and we cannot give you marks on that. Okay, the bottom one after the quality of slide is how you present. Mostly, normally you don't have problem unless your voice is too soft or you keep reading and you are wearing a t-shirt during presentation. Then you get very low marks on voice, eye contact, and attire. But if you wear normal, proper dress or presenter, yeah, then you should not have the attire. You should get full marks, no problem. Your voice and eye contact depend on how you make presentation, especially if it is real physical. That means in front of a class or in front of a seminar room. Then we really want to see you make presentation, voice, eye contact, and so on. But even you're presenting online, still we expect you to have some eye contact, voice, and so on, not just reading. You look at your slides and you're reading that, and your voice also not very clear and so on. So you may lose 1.5% there. Okay. And finally, the last part is response to questions, 4.5%. That's the defense part. 4.5%. You may lose that if you don't do it properly. So what we'll do in this class or in this seminar is to go, not to go through all this, uh, all of them, but just to go through some of the tips and guidance how to make sure that you can score 30%, at least close to 30%, so that you have all the content that's required for the evaluators to 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 uh, to look for. Yeah. So what do evaluators look for in their? Oh, sorry.
From your unshare screen.
Yeah. That's I pressed the wrong button. I'm so,
It's okay.
sorry.
It's okay.
I need to share again. Moment, yeah. Okay.
Okay, I can see your content now.
Moment. Okay.
Oh yeah, yes, I can
Okay.
see.
So this one we were here just now, and I was saying what are evaluators looking for? In order to make the evaluation, the above evaluation, yeah, the evaluators will be looking for asking what is his title and what is his background of research? What is the research problem that this guy is solving? What was his goal, aim, or purpose of the research? What are the objectives? Is the work supported by literature? What are the activities or the tasks that he or she wants to do to achieve the objectives? How do they plan the tasks? How to relate to each other, the tasks or the activities? And then, is there any task that has been done in first semester? Can we have a look at your whatever results that you have got so far? Just to see what you have got so far. If you have done something, this shows something. So these are what we want to know. So you must make sure that your slides and your presentation answers these questions. If you have all these questions, answer this question, at least we are able to do the assessment. But if you don't have some answers to this question in your slides, then maybe we'll be thinking, oh, what should we give? How do we give marks for this review literature? It's not there. And work planning, there's nothing about work planning in his presentation. Okay, so bear in mind what the evaluators are looking for and plan your presentation accordingly. All right. So let's see what's if we go through this 7 or 8 points here. Evaluators wants to know what is the background of your research. So you have 1 or 2 slides, not more than 3 slides. Just briefly describe the background of your work. Show some photos, figures, graphs, and so on. Okay, for example, if you're talking about your project, your project is about maybe, what should I say, about ocean energy, it's my field. Then maybe you want to show a little bit about first the need for maybe something about global warming. This is background. Maybe you talk about various kinds of renewable energy. So you may have something about solar, about wind, and so on. So this is basically in the background. So if maybe your research is about stability, for example, then you may want to show something about ship capsizing. Just a photo and what is the issue of this ship capsizing. Maybe you're talking about ship capsizing because of overloading. Your research background is about overloading. Okay, so maybe you want to take even a snapshot of a newspaper article or something, ship capsized because of overloading. Okay, so something like that. So this is the background. There's no need to be very, not necessarily article from the journal. It could be newspapers, it could be uh, uh, magazines and so on. Just to give a background, just to show that it is important to study this. All right. So, but you must make sure that you give citation and references for information taken from others. So many people show many photos and so on, but they do not show this is taken from which reference or at least give, if you take from the internet, don't say Google, Google image. Google hasn't got the image. They only, it's a search engine, so you must go to the source where that photo is taken from. So you give the website, for example. At least in the background research, we are not to worry about actual citation from article and so on. But you have also very good. Maybe you want to show already research being done at UTM or by your previous UGP seniors, about the same topic. So you can say that your research is basically a follow up of previous UGP, for example. Okay, so that's number 1. Number 2, what is the research problem you are solving? So describe clearly what has been done by others in the literature or maybe previous UGP. You're following up, maybe the previous UGP did up to this point. I'm going to follow up from this point and so on. Show what is the gap in knowledge. So this is your research problem. So you're trying to solve this problem by trying to get new information. On from that new information is new knowledge. Yeah. And make sure again you give citation references for information taken from others. It is very important for you to acknowledge others, otherwise you'll be guilty of plagiarism. And then state clearly what you seek to achieve in this research. The purpose or the aim or the goal of my project is to what? Yeah, to investigate or to study something and so on. Yeah, so this is very general statement, unlike objective, which is very specific. So you must differentiate between goal, aim, purpose statement with objectives. In objectives, you must make it specific and measurable. I think we did this already mentioned before this. It must be smart, smart, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. So these are objectives. So objectives should be minimum of 2 normally. And I think at the graduate level, 2 will be enough. Don't have 3. Just two objectives. So it is preferable to show how your objectives were developed from or mapped to research questions. So although it is not compulsory, but if you have used research question to develop your objective, it will be good. That's what we learned in our first class. So this one basically is just a matter of you write good objectives. The objective should be to determine, to assess, to evaluate, yeah, to develop. All this you can write, but not to use to investigate or to study, to explore, to examine, and so on. Those you don't use those words. Use the previous word I mentioned. Okay, what are the related supporting literature? So this one, give a summary of literature review, further clarifying the problem statement. Describe previous research and method they use that can be can help you in developing your methodology. Okay, can help you in developing your own methodology. Cover at least 10 citation in proper correct format. I'm just giving a number. That means you cannot use a 2 or 3. So maybe something like 10 or 15, something like that in literature review. Then you can get full marks in the literature review section of the marking scheme. If you don't use, if you don't put proper citations in the correct format and enough to show that you have read, yeah, and this must be scholarly literature. We have discussed about what is meant by scholarly literature in our previous classes, meaning that it must be articles from journals or conferences. Okay, so these are the main ones. Maybe one or two taken from others, but article and journal and references must be the main references that you have, that you put. So if you do not have this one, then your, I don't know how many percent, the 4.5% may not, it's just deducted from you, nothing. You're going to get zero there. Okay? So what activities or tasks will you usually do to achieve your objective? So this is methodology. Describe clearly how do you plan to achieve your objectives. So you must bear in mind your objectives. Okay, my objective is to determine the efficiency of diesel engine, okay, um, which is using an additives. Okay, so you put an additive inside the diesel engine and you determine the efficiency. So now, how do you do that? First, I mean, what are the things? So you are going to do, if you say, you must explain what are the things that you do. For example, where do you get the additive from? Okay, so you're going to run the engine at whatever speed and so on. So all those you must clearly explain, and those explanation is helped, assisted by a flow chart, and show on the flow chart which activities tasks will achieve which objective. For example, you have two objectives, then you can say that here I put around dot around there. These four activities is to achieve objective one, and another dot. This part will be to achieve objective two. So at least we can see clearly, you understand these are the things that need to be done to achieve your objectives. Okay. And finally, how do you plan to do tasks in the first and second semester? Of course, you can show that also on your flow chart. On the flow chart, you can say that these three activities or three tasks are to be done in the first semester, and the other five to be done in the second semester. You can show that, and you must also provide a Gantt chart, so you know what a Gantt chart is. So that Gantt chart will show you how you, for each task, when are you going to do it, okay? For so that until you reach the end of the next semester. And number eight is we call it not compulsory, yeah, not compulsory, but it is highly recommended. Number eight, even if you don't do this, um, you're not going to be penalized as such. But if you do this, then you may get points in the above, because people know that you understand the methodology very well, and you have even done something. So the question is, if it is a methodology, you have done something in the first semester, maybe the first semester you run CFD, or you try to run some CFD, basic CFD work. You show that even if you just run for not for your actual analysis, you run for a box just to test. You are learning. Your first semester, I spend this semester, I spend my time learning how to use CFD, for example. Then maybe you want to show results of your part of your learning process. Or maybe you in the first semester you have collected data about the boats that you are going to use in the next semester. Okay, show that data that you have got about that boat. So that's what is called preliminary results. Okay, so as I said, this is not compulsory, but if you have shown that, then it means that we understand you have already worked very hard, and you even in this semester you have got some results. So that's a bonus for you. You know that you really plan your work very well. Okay, so that's it. That's what you have to present. You present this, then we can rest assured that you have got all the detail. Then we can give you the marks that you want. Okay, but there is the issue of quality of slides, because even if you have all those things, but if your slides are terrible, okay, not properly done, then you have a problem because the quality of slide is 4.5%. That is in UGP1. In UGP2, quality of slides is also is 3% out of 20%, because in UGP2, your presentation is only 20%. 20%. In UGP1, it is 30%. Yeah, this is UGP2. So out of the 20%, 3% of that, not 3% of that, this is a 3% from 100, of course. Yeah, from the 20, 3 of them are actually for quality of slides. So quality of slides, it carries its own mark, and it carries the effect of poor quality slide is going to affect your even the above marks, the above items. Okay, if for UGP1, for example, if we cannot read your slides properly, then it's going to affect problem identification, review literature, methodology, and work planning. So because of that, preparing good slides is also a very important part of your UGP preparation, your UGP presentation. Okay, so let's look at how we can prepare better slides, yeah, for presentation. So just you have this slide, for example. You can judge for yourself that you are not happy if I say this is my slides. I'm going to present to you about how to get how to present information or presentation skills. So I'm presenting about presentation skill, but the way I present it is using this slide. You will be saying that I'm hypocrite, not because I want to talk about presentation skill, but my slides is not something up to standard, because there are too many words, and even that table down there, or that list there, you cannot read. Yeah, so you yourself can judge that this slides like this is not acceptable. So we need to prepare better slides so that people can understand you better. Yeah. Okay. So now I give a little guideline, some guideline for creating effective slides. First is this one. Maybe you can judge for yourself. Are you happy with this slide? Of course not, right? Why? Mainly because of, we call it poor contrast. You have a blue background, and you have blue font. That's very poor contrast. And you will be surprised that many of, if I don't give this give guidelines like this, then many of your presentation will be like this. Yeah, we have experienced this many times. Students are not very much aware about the need for color contrast. So you must make sure that if it is blue background, then the font should be like this. Is it okay? Red over blue also okay. So is this red okay or not? Red over blue. Is this okay? At least it is a bit better. You can read now. Just now you cannot read at all, yeah? Or why is it that we are not happy with this one? Sakit mata, that's correct. It is an eyesore to read this. And don't be surprised if I don't point it out now. Some of you might be using something like this in your presentation. Okay, so what about this one? So this is, you'll be much happier to read something like this. It is a yellow over or yellow over blue. Right. So this thing is the first criteria on the most important part of your presentation. When you talk about presentation, then presentation improvement of presentation slides. Yeah, the first thing you have to think would be in terms of color contrast. Okay, so color contrast like this, very we can you can easily see. So compare that like the previous one, this one, or this one. Okay. So now we go to so what can we see just now? We can see that the slide should enhance understanding, guide audience, support claims, show evidence. So this is something that also must be at the back of your mind when you are preparing slide for presentation. Always think that you are helping the audience, guiding the audience to understand what you are going to present. That's the first key key point that you need to have at the back of your mind, that you are presenting to the audience and you want the audience to understand what you are presenting. So it is actually enhancing the understanding. And then it will guide the audience along what you want them to go. So from here, it goes to here, to here, to here, and so on. It is your story that you want them to follow. So you're guiding them to follow your storyline. So first I did this, and then finally this, and so on. So we don't want the audience to become lost along the way. You know, what is he doing? What is she What is she presenting? No, jumping to this part, and so on. So there's kind of flow and so on. And the slide actually wants to show evidence. That's why you need to have photos, you need to have graphs, you need to have tables, and so on. Because without slide, you can also talk, you can also present, but you cannot show maybe a certain relationship or certain trend and so on. It's very difficult to talk if you don't have the slides. So the slides are supposed to give evidence clearly. Okay, we don't want to have evidence. You say you want to have evidence, but the graph is very small or very blur, and so on. So you must make sure that I'm showing evidence. So I must make sure that the audience can see this evidence. Yeah? So use poorly a distraction in effective presentation. In fact, if you do make a poor slides, it's better not to use the slides. You can talk better, you can speak better, you can explain better without the slides, and the audience will not be frustrated by the poor quality of your slides. So we must make sure that, and also we must make sure that the slides is not to show uh, your skills of PowerPoint um, editing with all the sounds, all the animations here and there, and so on. you must understand that in technical presentation, like in the seminar, like what you're going to do next week, we are not interested to see your PowerPoint with the wizardry. That's why do not use Prezi. If you have heard of Prezi or you have used Prezi before for some other things, do not use Prezi during your UGP seminar or even in other seminar and other conference seminar, conference presentation. If you are selling a product or if you are in direct selling or in multi-level marketing or in Tadika, kindergarten, play groups and so on, okay, you may want to use all those, all the colors, all the different animation, all the different transitions, yeah, and so on. Yes, go ahead. But for seminar presentation, yeah, keep it simple. Keep it simple. Yeah, so you must bear that in mind again. Okay. So guiding principles is make it simple, make it clear. Don't let technology dominate the presentation because what we don't want is that the audience will go away and say, oh, hebat the presentation. Prezi dia, sana sini, meletup sana sini, and all those things. They remember that, but they don't know, they couldn't remember what he say or what was his topic or and so on. Okay, so we don't want that. Since there's no sound, there is no excessive animation. Okay, animation is allowed or is okay. You can use animation when it is necessary. Not like every sometimes people every single line you have so you hide the bottom one. Make it simple, come up first, and then press another button. Make it clear. Then press another button. Don't let technology come out. We don't have to do that. It's just a distraction. Because when you are making when you have make it simple, it come out, yeah, or like this. I show everything. I show I describe what is in the here. Make it simple, okay? Make it clear. Those of you who are quick enough, maybe they can already understand this. They can read already what's coming next, and just wait for my next presentation. So that's uh, so the important thing is uh, don't let technology, although you know that PowerPoint can do many things. I've seen people do many things with PowerPoint. Yes, yeah, but for technical presentation, you don't have to worry about those things. Just make it clear like this. Yeah. So that's what from here to here. That's transition. Is there a need for transition? My previous slide do not have transition, and I don't think there is a problem with that. But when here you have a transition, which is actually not necessary. There is no need to have this transition, although maybe it's a small matter, but for me it is a distraction because you can just go like that, not like that. So use animation only when necessary, for example, to emphasize a point. There is no need to sell out sikit-sikit like I mentioned just now. It is you show one line by one line. Some people even one letter by one letter. No, we don't do that. Yeah? And do not use hyperlink except very necessary. Hyperlinks, hyperlinks means we have maybe we have an arrow here. So do not use hyperlink. So we have something to show from this point. Then we click there and then it goes to another slide. That slide maybe slide, this is slide 15. That slide could be slide number 30. And then after I finish explanation slide number 30, I click again and then come to number 15 again. Do not use that. It is unnecessary. Except it is very necessary, but in normal condition, we do not use it. If you want to do something like that just now, you copy that slide number 30, put here, it becomes slide number 30, number 16. And then you bring a copy of number 15, put in slide number 17. So 15, 16, 17. There's no need for hyperlink. It's the same thing, right? So for example, like this one. So for example, now we talk about fuel saving ships. So there are 6 ways of to save fuel on ships. Yeah? One way is to design the ship with drag, reduce drag. We reduce the drag of the ship. The second one will be to improve conversion of fuel to power. That's basically engine improvement, and then improve conversion of power to thrust, which is propeller improvement, and so on. So if I want to go to explain reduce drag and resistance, some people they use hyperlink. So you click here, it goes to another slide. Okay, it goes to another slide, and then you press that slide, it come back to this slide. Whereas this slide, I just put in slide this the explanation for here. I put slide number 17 here, 17, and then I go back to slide number 18, which is the same slides. So there is no need to use hyperlink. Because you use hyperlink, later when people want to ask questions, you'll be in trouble because you don't know how to go there. You need to refer to that back here and there and so on. So make life difficult. Whereas if we use without hyperlink, we can just follow this in order, in series. Yeah, and the slide number is there for people to follow. Okay. So here is an example of a bad slide. That because the whole thing is copied, full sentences from the text of the thesis or from the draft report. So the copy put here, and because you put like this, most probably you are going to read this during presentation. How are you going to present something if you put every words on here? That's why you see in my presentation here, there is no long complete words sentences except for maybe this one put. But the rest are just something will help me to explain to you. Yes, so I just explain to you. Enhance it. So I said the slide should do what is it, and so to guide audience, I explain what I guide the audience. So you got the point there, which is my point, the main point that I want you to get, and I give the explanation to them to each of the keywords. So when you write your slides, then you also please do not use full words like this. Even this one is not good, yeah? I shouldn't have done that. Okay. So do not copy like that. So again, stress on contrast and readability. When making slides, use a light background and dark letters or light text on the dark background. Like my current slides now, you're happy to read this because there's no clutter. You can read them very easily, and you don't need these slides to be beautiful. I don't think you will want to appreciate something beautiful. You just want to get what's inside it, what is it that I am presenting, not the beautiful decoration that I have and so on. Even UTM logo, so I don't put. There's no need for UTM logo because you put UTM logo, it reduce it will reduce the amount of area that I can use for my presentation. Okay, so and they use a big enough font like this. Of course, I overblow it because it's 32. Yeah, but normally we use 20 to 24, 20 to 24, and 20 is about already the smallest. If you need to go down, you go to 16 to 19, but this is rare. Normally you should be here, 20 to 24. And when you find that you have to reduce to below 16, or most of you think your slides are below 16, that means your font are too small, so you can divide the slide into 2 or 3 slides. Okay, so like for example, I think if you see the earlier slides that I have, like this, yeah, I can write all this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in one slide. Yeah, but of course the font become very small, and you'll be and not happy with me because I'm showing you slides, which is very small. It's very important slide, but I'm going. I put. I cram everything, all the 8 points in one slide. I say, okay, no, I'm more generous than that. There's no harm for me to break this into 4 slides. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you are happy because you can read. It's very clear. Yeah. So that's what we mean by we always focus on the audience. Think about the audience. How are they looking? How are they going to follow my presentation if I make it too small? They cannot read. Yeah. Okay, next would be for the background and so on. Stick to plain background. Plain like this one. Maybe you want to add 2 colors, it's okay. Yeah, make it gradient, so it's okay. So maybe start yellow here and then it goes towards bluish, towards the right, or something like that. That's no problem. But do not put the fancy thing like you have a mm, you have checkered thing, or you have flowery edit in the corners and so on. No, no, we don't do that. In technical presentation, we don't need that. And we don't use cute clip arts like this, for example. Yeah. Or we know you are doing something about the sheep, yeah, but don't have to put all this thing that's moving here and there and so on. There's no need for that. Okay, so just make it plain, yeah. And when you are going to put any figure, it must be figure that is relevant to your presentation. You are helping. So do not use decorative figure for tables. Maknanya in the Malay, I think, well, what is written as uh, gambar untuk hiasan. In the thesis, you don't put gambar untuk hiasan. In presentation, also you don't put gambar untuk hiasan. That means you put a photo for no reason. Because some people, they want to put some flower there or some trees, maybe or a building or a gear or an engine for nothing. It's just they just want to have something on their slide, a photo. Yeah, they put anything. No, if you don't have anything to explain about that figure, then don't put it. That's the rule. If it is if you know you're not explaining it, then there's no need to put it. Once you put it, then it must have something that is relevant that you're going to explain or touch it during your presentation. So do not put gambar untuk hiasan. Do not put any figure, even if a question mark. Sometimes people, oh, research question, they put big question marks there. Okay, when they talk about research problem, they put image of a man thinking like that, or what's the problem and so on. Yeah. So no, there's no need for that. We don't do that in technical presentation. It's not necessary. As we said, it doesn't have to be beautiful. What the main keyword is, it must be clear, clear, simple. Yeah, people can understand. So this is an example. This is a snapshot I took from one student presentation. Can you see this? I really I don't see what he's trying to present. He haven't got time even to explain each one of them. I don't know what is this one, the one on the right, what's the one on the left there, and then there's a box there, you know. So if somebody is putting this one, he will need maybe 5 minutes or so to explain all this, because he put everything. All these things, you know, can be actually in 5 slides or so. But he cram everything here, and then he expect us to understand this in a very short time as part of his introduction. Okay, so this is an example of what I'm saying, that we don't need this kind of way of presentation. Yeah, make it in series, one by one. If this is important, then you put it in their own separate slides. Yeah, not cram everything here, become very small for you to read, especially when you have this highlighter there, and make life even more difficult to read. Yeah, I don't know what's there and so on. So this is an example of why we feel that this thing, this photo and so on, is not important. Yeah, don't have to be here. This one, I don't know what is this. Can you read what's inside here? No. This one all very important, maybe very important information, small one. But I don't know why he put it here. Because we cannot, even this one, it's barely readable. Agriculture, something, I forgot. I'm not sure. Agriculture, forestry, land use, and so on. And that one also cannot read, cannot read, cannot read. So always think about readability. Readability, yeah. General format rules, stick to maximum of 2 readable fonts, right? So we stick to 2 fonts. You may use 2 fonts or maybe 1 font only. Stick to maybe Arial or Calibri or Times Roman, yeah. But do not use many. Here you use Times Roman, here the other one you use Calibri, the other one you use Arial, the other one you use Georgia, the other one, all sorts. And do not use fancy font like this, Comic Sans or Lucida, you know. There are formal fonts. Just stick to them. Normally will be the sans serif. Yeah, so normally will be sans serif like Calibri and Arial. Just stick to that. Simple. Don't make it complicated by having Lucida or Comic Sans and so on. Be style and stick with it. Keep it short, especially titles. The titles here, we don't want to write very long something. So it's just general format rules, very simple, yeah? Keep it short and leave empty spaces. So, of course, we don't want to cram everything here, yeah? But we don't want also to leave, to put your everything is only in the middle here. Some people, they have small font, they put everything, all this in only one small box here. And there is still plenty of space around here. That's also we don't want. Yeah, but we also don't want to fill up to the brim, yeah, to the end, to the margin here. Yeah, also we don't want. So this is good enough for us. Yeah, so we leave empty spaces. So general format rule: be brief, straight to the point. So we don't write full sentences so that we don't include every word you will say. Because if we put every word you say, there are 2 problems. Number one, audience cannot get what exactly you want to say. If I were to write this, for example, I write, uh, during presentation, we must be brief and straight to the point. We should not write the whole sentences, long sentences, because there is a tendency that you are going to read it. If I were to put that, writing like that, when you have to read the whole long sentences, you may not get the point that I want to say, especially if there are longer sentences. But if I say be brief, straight to the point, okay, you get that point, and I explain it by saying that you should not be writing everything, every word that you say, because that will make it difficult for the audience to absorb, and also make it difficult for you to make a presentation, because there will be big tendency that you are going to be reading rather than presenting. So there you have to also understand reading and presenting are 2 different things. Okay, if uh, if you were to have like what I showed just now, the long one, no problem to go back there. This one, if you have written something like this, how are you going to present this? Most probably you are going to read, because you are not sure which part is it that I want to stress here. Whereas if you have picked up the main points, then you just explain the main points. But when you write it's like this, most probably you are going to read the whole sentences. And reading to the audience is very bad. Imagine you are in the audience, you're shown this one, and then the presenter will say, there are over 28,000 species of fish which have expressed asserting evolutionary diversity in propulsion and so on. It's very boring, right? Not only boring, it's like it is challenging us, or like saying that you all cannot read, so I'm going to read to you, right? Otherwise, you can just leave it for us to read. It's okay. I'm going to give you 5 minutes to read this. Okay, please read on your own. That's also your presentation. If you have written like this, maybe you can say to the audience, read on your own. Okay, rather than you reading it, better you leave to the audience to read. But that's not the point. So you are not going to, whereas this is your presentation time. So since this is your presentation time, you have since this is presentation time, you have to make presentation, not reading time. Okay, so go back to that reading. Okay, because you include every word you say, most you have the tendency to read. Now, limit one idea per slide, preferably, but sometimes you need to combine as well. Like what I did earlier, there are 8 points. Okay, so I divide into 4 slides. Okay, rule of 6, preferably, if you can have not more than 6 words per line and 6 lines per slide, that'd be very good. This one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, okay, this one will be longer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's why it become very big like this, and you can read easily. So okay, 6 is difficult. It's okay, we go to 8. Oh, it's still very difficult. You can go to 10. I think 10 is okay, but after that it becomes small, too small now. Okay, so try to stick to 6 to 10 lines and 6 to 10 words. Put slide numbers for easy reference. This one's many students miss this. It's very important. Like for example, now you're following me. So when I say something here, of course we go to our question and answer towards the end, and by then maybe I have already 40 slides. And if you do not put page number, then if I do not put page number, you want to ask a question about this slide, how are you going to say this? Or that one that has got something general format rules, or I have to go find, oh, which one is it? So very difficult, right? But you have the slide number, then basically you can just say that slide number 24. Straight away we can go to slide number 24. Okay. Presenting data. One thing, of course, you have a lot of data, um, especially in the second semester. By first semester, maybe not much yet. You have only very simple data. But by the time you uh, by the time you go to the second semester, you have a lot of data. So you have to be selective in the data that you choose. Okay, choose the one that will be most helpful in telling your story. So maybe you get results. The results is trying to explain that the use of uh, certain kind of additive is improved. Okay, last time we were talking about additives, the virgin coconut oil. The use of virgin coconut oil in diesel engine is improving. Can improve the efficiency of diesel engine. So you have those data, then that data become very, very important. So you you focus on those data. Okay. So out of those data, you have to look at, maybe those are some raw data and this is already processed data and so on. But within the time that you have, you may want to show only uh, already the final data, or the final figure, final graph, final tables that you are presenting. So it depends again on the timing that you have. You have, I think, 15 minutes. So you have to make sure that you have put the main data that's important for your work. Okay, when presenting data, some of you already asked question. So like this, for example, is this good? No, because the table become very small. Okay, so this is uh, taken from real real presentation. I took this from a presentation by one student, and he put, this is about his literature review. He want to say that he read a lot of literature and sat there. But we, as audience, we cannot read. We cannot see what is inside here and so on. What's so important about this? So he put everything here, but actually not relevant, not useful for us as audience. Maybe he understands this very well. He has been doing this for many months. He knows what is this. But us, the audience, we can't understand why is he showing this. He's just showing that I've done a lot of literature review. Okay, that's it. Okay, you did many, all right. But any meaningful thing coming from the table and so on, he need to explain to us. But he cannot explain because this thing is too small. Okay? So here's another table. You just put a table like that, taken from the thesis, put inside here. Okay. Now we come to when we present graph and tables. Okay, when we present graph and table, we must comment on it. We cannot leave to the audience to understand on their own. Okay, so we cannot say, it's up to you lah. You faham lah. You can understand, it's up to you. Pandai-pandai, you fikirlah sendiri. Not like that. We are supposed, remember from the beginning, we say we guide the audience. We guide the audience. So because the audience first time they see that graph or that figure, then we need to tell them what is this all about. So you explain these 4 points. Number one, where it come from. For example, this is my own data. From the experiment, we plot this data, this graph. Okay, now you have the first one done already. And this don't have to be long. Maybe just in in 15 seconds or 30 seconds, you can cover all this already, depending on how much time you want to spend on the graph. Yeah. So where it come from? You can just say that this is from this graph is taken from the experiment or made from the data from the experiment. Okay, done. So describe briefly the curve, the data. So if there are curves there, explain this curve is what is the legend. This is curve of efficiency. All right. So at least people can understand very quickly. Otherwise, if you show a graph, it will take time for people to absorb. Yeah, and you must help them to understand. And then what's so important, significant, relevant findings, information, and finally the what next. So what? Yeah. So give time for your audience to absorb. This I hope you remember. This is very similar to our writing module last time when I explained about writing. When we write, same thing. When we show any figure, any graph, we must explain where it come from, how maybe something about where the data, how the data become like what it is in the column, in the row, and then what are the main significant relevant findings, and what next. Same thing in the writing, especially so during presentation, because during writing, when you write something, people can read, they have time. If you give to the evaluator can have time to read. Maybe they spend they can spend a few minutes or even hours to understand that. They can have that time, the luxury of time. But during presentation, they have only maybe a few seconds. Yeah. Or depending on how much time you want to spend to do the explanation. So like this one, for example. If you're presenting the figure below, what would you say? So try to think. You can just say, and so just say that, okay, this is a graph, and after that you go to the next one. Okay, but that makes no meaning. Why do you put this graph here? So that's why when you put a graph, you must have the 4 things. Number one, where it come from? Oh, this graph is taken from reference 5. Done. Settle already, point number 1. Okay, this is not my own work. I took it from reference 5. Number 2, we go to explain.
Hello. Yeah, wow. Okay, I think maybe some internet connection problem. We wait for Prof to rejoin again. This is some internet connection problem. We stay a while. Okay, there is some technical issue. Prof Omar is joining back soon, so we just stay a while. Okay, while we are waiting Prof to coming back, I have shared the attendance form on the chat box. So while waiting, maybe you all can be slide your attendance, especially for the SKMO student. Your attendance will be recorded and will be shared with your supervisor later lah. Okay. While we're waiting, so later on, if you have question, maybe after the end of this presentation, right, we are open for Q&A question. All students are welcome to ask the question. If you are shy to speak online in front of everyone, you may, you may do first, you can put your question in the attendance form, which I distributed to you previously, or you can tap on the chat box. Okay, so I will record your question, then ask Prof later at the Q&A session lah. Okay, thank you. I think I saw Prof coming back already.
Okay, sorry. I don't
So,
know why internet is not stable. Right, can you see this one?
have it, Prof, you have a share slide.
Oh, sorry. Okay, okay. Okay, share first. Okay.
Yeah, previously stop at this slide.
Okay, this slide. Okay. So we were talking about when presenting graph and tables, uh, we need to have these 4 points. Whenever a table come up or a figure come up, you must think about the audience. Hey, can the audience understand what is this all about? So I'm going to help them. How to help them? Okay, like this one, for example. Then you say, oh, this graph is taken from reference 5. Oh, okay, that is the first point done. This is not my graph. I took it from reference 5. Then you explain a little bit about the legend, the lines, and so on. This graph shows motion in degree. So you have this there's a pointer, motion in degree. Okay, a plot of motion in degree as a time series in second. Oh, okay. So the audience can follow now. They're starting to follow you. And okay, these two lines show the speed, the yaw motion of the ship at two speeds. The dotted line is at 3 meter per second, and the solid line is 1 meter per second. Right. So I'm guiding the audience to understand this whole graph. They don't have to think for themselves and say, what is this line? And why is it like that? They take time for them to absorb that. They don't have much time. So now by doing that, you can see already, you can visualize what this is all about. Now I need to go to the third point. What's the third point? The third point is we need to uh, what are the main significant relevant finding information result data trend, and then what next. Okay, uh, so the interesting thing is that after 1500 seconds, the highest speed one is start to wobble like this. So this is something interesting as described by reference 5. And because of that, so what? In our future work, in my future work, I'm going to concentrate at 3 meters per second, looking at this phenomena here. Oh, okay. Oh, that's why you're showing this graph. Now I can understand why you are showing this graph. Because this graph has something significant here. And this is going to be helpful in your defining your future scope of work and so on. So this is an example. Okay, and do not lose the plot. This is a telling story. So there's a plot, scheme, big picture, same as written thesis. So you're actually telling a story. You want people to follow from here to there and so on. So like I'm telling the story from the beginning, you can remember what I've been telling from the beginning. The line, of course, maybe the detail you may not be able to remember, or except what you have jotted down. But you can realize what I've been telling the story from the beginning. Oh, from the rubric, and then it goes here, and it goes here, and it goes here, and why I'm here in slide 30, why I'm here. Okay, so similarly in your thesis presentation, you must also remember the audience. Can the audience follow me? I think, are they lost? So that's why slide number is important. It's one of the important thing, like page number, yeah, signpost along the way. So use signpost along the way. You can use, later I show an example of a signpost that you can use. And make sure there is connection between one slide and the next. Yeah, so you, from one slide to the next, there's a connection. Okay, final step. Um, Practice, because once you prepare, you must practice. Especially one of the thing that is very damaging to presenters are timing. You are given minit Dr. Siao? Memang 15 minit saya lupa dah.
Yeah, 15 minutes for presentation followed by 10 minutes of Q&A.
Okay. So 15 minutes. Please do not exceed the 15 minutes. It's not a between. You are not allowed to exceed 15 minutes. So like yesterday, in my other class, okay, we have a class presentation. Okay, class presentation. I give them 7 to 10 minutes presentation. Most people did very well. They finished between 7 to 10 minutes. But some students, they by the time 10 minutes, they have about 5 or 6 more slides not presented, and I have to stop them. And because of that, we cannot give you marks for those slides that you have not shown. Okay, so this time also similarly, I don't know how many slides you have, but you must make sure that you cover the slides within the stipulated time. Normally you are given a warning on the 13th minute or something. So you have like 2 minutes or 3 minutes away. Then you must make sure that by then you should have completed uh, so many slides, and you have another 2 minutes also to complete 15 minutes. So do not exceed, yeah, do not exceed. Always has a backup. Oh, this one is a very, very important one. Uh, in our experience in MTC, there are students who did their presentation. Sorry, they prepared the presentation, but the next day they came, they only brought a thumb drive, and that thumb drive contains a previous version of the presentation, not the one that he did. He spent the night editing. So you have to really think about backup. Maybe nowadays there almost no excuse. because you have Google Drive, you have Dropbox, you have all sort of backup. Yeah, so always have a backup that's on in the cloud. Yeah, maybe at least email the presentation to yourself so you have that final presentation. Think about possibilities of going wrong. I had an experience of losing a computer as I was going to the conference in KL. Was stolen from the car in RNR. Yeah, so we stopped at the RNR. The thief took the computer and all my bags, everything. Yeah, even my clothes, everything they took away. And when I arrived to KL that night, my presentation is supposed to be tomorrow morning, and I don't have any backup because my thumb drive, unluckily, I was foolish enough to put my thumb drive inside my laptop bag, so I don't have that. So yeah, but that was a long time ago. That's before Google Drive, before Dropbox, or maybe 2008 or 2009 or something like that. Yeah. So arrive early, load and test. So arrive early, load and test is also very important. Even during our seminar, this coming seminar next week, please come early. If your seminar is supposed to start at 8, you must come before 8 so that you can test sharing of screen. We use WebEx. You need to try how to use WebEx to share. If we use Google Drive, Google Meet, so you need to know how to share the slides and so on. Yeah, in our seminar yesterday, in our class seminar yesterday, some students they came very late. We're supposed to start at 9. They came, no, not yesterday, on Friday, Thursday. We're supposed to start at 9. They come at 9:05. We already started. And when the time come for him to 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 share, he has problem because before that we explain everything how to do the sharing. So always come early, yeah. And if physical conference seminar, you must also make sure that you come early to the session that you're supposed to presentation, yeah, and test out and so on. So that's something that you have to be prepared. So finally, keep it simple. Don't let technology dominate your message, and role 6 cover important points. I think that's why I've repeated too many times. Now we go to the uh, last 6 slide or so, the presentation itself, the defense, the defense. So now you know what we want to see. You know how to prepare what we want to see. Now, how do you present it and defend it? Okay, right. So you are doing. First, you must have to remember that you show passion. Your passion means because some students are just you don't show that excitement in the presentation. So you are not doing, you try to show that you are doing presentation not only or because your supervisor asks you to do it, or it is part of your study requirement, it is part of education research exercise and so on. But show that you like the subject. Show that you feel from inside that you want to share this interesting materials and that you are uh, like you are ready to go. You are happy to share with the audience. Okay, don't make it like because I know some students, like a few years ago, I happened to be in a group of UGP students that they mistakenly put me uh, in that, and they were saying, "Oh, I'm going to get shot." I be like kita tembak esok. I'm in the way. We are going to be to get shot. And then during the presentation also they are discussing among themselves. Oh, how is it? Okay, can you survive? Do you survive? So don't feel like that. That the evaluators' purpose is not to shoot you. Okay, please bear in mind. The evaluator's purpose is not to shoot you. They want to help you. They want to give you marks as many as possible. So try to look positively to the evaluators. Okay, they are not there to fail you or to shoot you down or to pull you down. They want you to pass. They want you to score, right? So that's why you want to bring them to your side. So you bring to your side by showing that you have passion, you are prepared, you know what you say, and so on. So that's number one. Show picture. Number two, of course, this is when you are doing the presentation, try to be a bit how to say, uh, it's not informal, but a bit uh, uh, free in the sense. Don't be too rigid. Yeah, don't be too rigid. So you feel like when you introduce yourself, just say very what okay, easy way of saying things. Not rigid. Yeah. And then from the beginning, you give all this outline and so on. And this outline is important. And please spend time a little bit to explain, because sometimes people say, this is the outline my presentation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then show one slide. And within 2 seconds, whoop, finish already. Let's explain that this is the outline my presentation. So what I mean here in the beginning is that do not rush, do not be harsh, abrupt, and so on. Slowly, you tune in into the presentation slowly. Okay, so that's what second point. The third point, during your conclusion as well, do not stop abruptly. Yeah, so you summarize the main points. Uh, just maybe in one sentence or two sentences. I have presented this, and so on. So some concluding remarks. Yeah. And finally, the important one, I think you're looking for this. Siapa punya mic on tu? Okay. Right, this one. This is the defense part. No, Akila, can you switch off your microphone first? Okay. Um, for question and answer, listen carefully and answer question clearly and confidently. Now, Akila, please switch off your microphone or mute. Dr. Tia also can mute that.
Yeah, I still finding his name. Never mind. I mute everyone first, then I mute Prof again.
Okay. Okay. Dengar tak?
Okay, yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So this is I think my last slide. uh, and this is also a very important part. Ini berapa marks tadi kita tengok dekat tadi tu? Dekat sini kan? Tak ada. Okay. The question and answer. Listen carefully and answer question clearly and confidently. So you dia kadang-kadang student dia tak faham soalan, tapi dia terus jawab. You know, if you do not understand, you ask again. So you please repeat that. Yeah. I can't hear you clearly. So you ask, you listen carefully and answer question clearly. I've not considered that. Okay. I just don't know what's the answer to that question. Just say that politely. Do not try to bluff your way. That means, yes, I know. So don't underestimate the lecturers. Yeah, they know a lot more than you on this particular topic that you're looking at. So sometimes they just want to test you. So do not try to bluff your way out. If you don't know, say you don't know. And then some comments do not require answers. So maybe sometimes the lecturers, as I said, they're trying to help you, especially for PSM1. PSM1, the comments are mainly to help you to make it better, your proposal, to make your proposal better. So some comments do not require answers. So just thank the questioner. Terima kasih Prof, terima kasih Doktor for saying that. Or thank you very much, Doctor, for your suggestion. Okay, I'll take note of your comment, your suggestion. We'll discuss further with my supervisor. Just that will do. Okay, unless they insist that no, you can comment also something about this suggestion. Okay, that maybe you say. So some comments they will want you to make comments. Okay, is this my comment? I think this is not right way of doing it. You may need to do something like this. That's my suggestion. Yeah, they will expect you to say what do you think about that. But if you are not sure about that and so on, then you may say that we take note of the comment and suggestion. I'm not too sure about it, but I'll take note and I'll discuss with my supervisor. Okay, so this is how you uh, defend as such. Yeah. So to say defense, I think is also not correct. As I said from initially, that it's not the role of the regulators to shoot you or to attack you and so on. So they don't attack. They are actually asking questions just so that they can put something inside the form. The form says question and answer. So we need to give some marks there. So if you answer it properly and correctly and so on, we give good points there. So it's not the the role of the regulators to actually pull you down. Okay, I think that's all. All the best. It's not that long. Okay,
Okay.
right. So I would because I went out just now, so I lost the chats, the earlier chats, so I can't see much. But so maybe the Siao can read out questions, or maybe you can students want to ask questions verbally also can.
Right.
There's no harm about that.
Okay, thank you, Prof, for the
Oh, sorry.
presentation.
I have something.
Understand? Oh, I will.
Just a moment.
Yes.
You can still see my screen, right?
Yeah, I can still can see your screen.
Yeah, I just want to show one presentation by one of your seniors. Okay. Uh, this is one of your senior construction testing of stem shock observers for small high-speed craft. I want to show her guides here above here. So you have here background, problem statement, objective, scope, literature review, methodology, result question. This is second PSM2. Of course, for your PSM1, only up to methodology, or you can put here preliminary results. But you don't have to. There is no need for result discussion or preliminary results. You can just go to conclusion. Or you can have preliminary results, like what I said just now. So this is second. But I just want to show that, okay, this is how her outline is. Okay. So the outline similar to the above there. And how the introduction to the background, she has some photo and showing the parts or the issues that's involved. And she used also a kind of animation, but very simple animation. Just animation just to show that. So this can cause discomfort to the yes and so on. Okay. And here is another animation that she put here, very simple. So you see the slides are very clear. You can see clearly. So that's another animation showing that that's a focus. There's so many things to methods to reduce stemming impact, but my focus is seat suspension. So that's the background. Then this is a problem statement, objectives, scope, literature review. So she shows some literature review and methodology, literature review again. So literature review, show some literature. And the equations is she's going to use in literature review. And then methodology, this is a flowchart. And she explained every detail inside the flowchart about parameters. So again, she used some kind of animation there, but very simple animation. So motion analysis. Okay. So the animation will help in our presentation when we want to the audience to focus on certain things. So when she's talking about this, the position for the seat, the parameters for the vessel speed and the length, yeah, and the spectra. So that's how to be done and so on. Okay, so just to share with you what some of your seniors did. Huh? Right. So I think I can stop sharing now, I suppose.
Okay, thank you, Prof. So far, we have 123 students inside the meeting room. I also have copied down the question from the chatbot, also several questions who student post on the attendance form. Right. Well, before I start to read the question from the chatbot we placed by the student previously, maybe I just open for any one of you would like to ask verbally. So if you want to ask verbally, you can turn on your microphone and ask now. Else, I will start to read the question you post previously on the chatbot or write in the attendance form. Okay, our student, any question you would like to ask? Have any question you would like to ask?
Excuse
Yes.
me, I want to ask. Yeah, Assalamualaikum and good evening, Dr. Omar. My name is Fahmi. I want to ask you a question regarding the methodology that we are going to present later. For my case, I need to run the ANSYS FDIP simulation to generate the graph of three independent tests uh, to obtain the optimum number of mesh elements for my case, but it's not working at all. I didn't have any of the graph. May I know what I'm going to present later? Should I explain the process, how I troubleshoot the problem I faced during the simulation, or I just explain the flowchart for my projects and the dimension and so on? That's my question. Thank you.
Uh, the as I said, the preliminary results, which is after methodology, is something sunat, sunat muakkad. It's highly recommended. Okay, it's not wajib, it's not compulsory. So even if you have done something about uh, apa ni tadi grid independent study but it didn't work, you may still explain that you have tried to do. You may want to show. We just want to show that you have done something. So if you show that, and this is so far, this is your God, maybe even if you have problem, you may want to share your problems, your issues, and so on, how you solve it. Even if you have not solved it, maybe you show, okay, I'm stuck here, but I'm going to do it during this coming semester break and after the examination and then continue in the next semester. There's no problem about that. So just explain what you have done and what you have so far you've got and so on. And maybe even the lecturers can also suggest some of the things that can help you solve the problem. So you may want to share the problem so that maybe the lecturers can suggest. So as I said, the lecturers are there to help you to achieve your objectives, to actually to do a good UGP lah. They they they're not there to pull you down. Okay.
Okay, thank you, doctor. That's really clarified my problem. Thank you.
Thank you. So any next student, any question you'd like to ask? No. If no, maybe I try to read some question from the chatbot where we are going to ask later after this maybe
Can
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 ask
can
lah.
can, can I read just the one that I can read here, which is number one, Ivan Ramli, there.
Okay. Wait
Okay,
lah.
the,
Can
three
I
thirty
share
three
screen?
339.
Maybe I just share screen.
Okay, it's better for you to share screen. Okay,
Because
very good.
I have
Then we can
copied
start.
down it.
Hmm.
I copied down it into the notepad.
That'd be good. Okay, so from the beginning, yeah.
Wait, okay.
Okay, number one. Is it sufficient to explain figure with caption without description written below it? Yes, of course. Uh, because since you are explaining it, there is no need to write in the description. If you explain like what I explained just now, there's no need to write anything. Yeah, but you may want to use to put up certain animation on there with text box and so on. Like for example, like when I was presenting, I could have put a red animation that come up when I'm talking about the big sway after 1,500 seconds. So this thing will help us to explain that. But definitely there's no need to write any description below or next to the figures and tables because you're supposed to explain it. Yeah. Dr. Can readability and colorful slides coexist? Oh dear. I don't know. Uh, Colorful, we said it's not supposed to be very colorful and so on. Just make it simple. Too many colors is also very distracting. Don't need no need to have very colorful slides. After presentation, is it proper for us to ask for suggestion from the regulator for the improvement of our methodology? You don't after presentation, you go and see outside the presentation. It's okay, no problem. Actually, I welcome people to come and ask me about how did they do during the presentation and so on. Yeah, that's no problem. But during the presentation, you don't ask the regulators to give suggestion, or you don't ask the regulators to ask questions. The chairman will ask the regulator to do that. Okay, so you wait for the chairman of the session to do that. Type the question that panel will ask to student. Okay, types of question. I said the question could be actually really wanting to know about certain things that you said or you show on the slides. It's not clear maybe, right? Or you intend to do something that the evaluators think it may not be right, for example. Then they will ask you those questions. And then maybe some questions are asked to check your knowledge. For example, in the marine for marine students, yeah. For then maybe some questions that can be asked is maybe to test if you want to do something about sea keeping. So you're doing something about sea keeping. Uh, which method are you going to use in the when the for the waves when you are modeling the waves? Which wave model are you going to use, for example? So that's basically because without knowing the wave model, you cannot do seakeeping analysis, proper seakeeping analysis. So because of that, and you did not mention that inside your presentation. So we'll ask that questions, and maybe we will ask a bit more detail about you are doing stability analysis for this module, mobile offshore drilling unit. What criteria are you going to use? So you need to when you say you want to use certain methods, certain analysis and so on, you must understand that you need to provide those, for example, the criteria for the for the assessment and so on. So if you do not explain, then we will ask those questions. Okay. How to get confident during presentation, explain in front of so many people to get less nervous. Wow, that's difficult, huh? First, you are very lucky in a sense that since you are presenting online, okay, at least you don't have people breathing so close to you. So, and you are talking to the screen basically, so you're not too worried. I've seen people looking very nervous during when they present in front of class, in front of seminar room. But online, I think most students present very well. I think so far there's no problem of nervousness. You should not be nervous. So one thing you are nervous is that you might be shot down. But I keep saying to you that no, the lecturers and evaluators are kind people. They don't really want to shoot you down or try to pull you down or give low marks to you or find faults with you. Ya betul Nurani, betul. I'm telling the truth. Yeah. So we are not looking for we are not there to look for faults, but we want but if there are problem in terms of you did not present properly or you are not prepared for it, memanglah of course you'll be in trouble kan. Trouble tu because we ask you question you can answer. Like those questions that I asked just now. Which particular criteria are you going to use? If you are prepared, you can easily answer that. Tak ada masalah pun. Or which wave model ke ataupun we mention certain thing about RAOs apa ni are you going to use regular waves or irregular waves? If you are aware about what you're doing, you can easily answer those questions. Those questions, there's something basic questions. But if you are not aware, then of course you'll be asking, what do you mean by irregular waves? Okay. So then you'll be in trouble lah. Tapi kalau biasa-biasa ni, there's no problem lah. I think most students will do very well lah. How much literature review is included? I said just now, you try to get about 10, at least 10 of other citations lah, other 10 references. You must refer to at least other 10 lah. Okay, tips on presenting, I've mentioned already. For this presentation, does the regulator will also touch and read draft report submitted previously? No. We only depend on your presentation. Because some regulators tak ada. Kita untuk presentation one, there is no second evaluator. It's only read by the supervisors for the presentation UGP1. For UGP2, yes, kita ada second examiner. But for the UGP1, only your supervisor will read the thesis or your draft report. So the evaluators, panel penilai during the presentation, they only depend on what you write on the slide and present. So that's why it is important for you to prepare your slides very well and also present it well. Prof, I believe by now almost all students have their slides completed, reviewed by respective supervisors. Should the knowledge we gain into the seminar apply to final paper? It's up to you. I don't think you say by now almost all students have the slide completed. I doubt it. My students have not. Okay, I've not seen slide of from my student yet. So I think many students who have not shared their slides with their supervisors yet. But even if you have shared, of course, the room for improvement. Yeah, so in terms of content, maybe the same, but in terms of the formatting and so on, you can still improve. Okay, which part is more important and we need to explain my time more? Our finding, literature, or what we are going to do? Well, I think if you look at the 8 points that I put there, all are important. We want to, as long as you explain that clearly, then it's easy for us to give points. You cannot miss any one of them. You must do it well. Of course, you need to spend time more on methodology, I think, because you need time to explain how you want to do it. Okay, so I think maybe you want them, but all are important points that you cannot miss. What else?
Yeah, I think this all the question I correct from the chat box and some attendance form.
Okay.
So maybe we open a state again for student. Any other question would like to ask by students so far? Okay, if not, yeah. Prof has wants to asking, is it compulsory to have 10 reference in literature review? I think what from me is should be allowed 10, but you want to more is not problem, right? Or less, but less is not good.
Ya, kalau tak sampai 10 tu teruk sangat lah. I mean, if you don't reach 10. 10 also is not so good. I said at least 10. Kalau ada 10 tu adalah boleh bagi markah. Tapi kalau tak ada 10, I think it's very bad lah. Alright?
Okay, we wait for a student. Maybe I have one more comment for student. Previously from my experience, right, a lot of students, example, I ask a question, why you want to using the CND? Some students will say that because my supervisor asked me to use. If answer the question by this way, then we get some penalty on your mark. This is something should not in your answer for all students. Please remember. Right. So any other
Sure. That part I think I need to stress also. I think I mentioned this in our first seminar that this is your project. This is your project, not your supervisor project. You are the one who make decisions, everything. Your supervisor only guide you. So if you accept the advice from your supervisor, it become yours. You cannot say that macam tadi lah, my supervisor cakap macam tu. So you cannot use your supervisor as a leverage or as an argument, alasan for whatever decision that you make. You are the one who should be defending this, saying that this is my work. Okay, I make all the decisions.
Okay, thank you. So I think if not question, maybe we just open for photo session, okay, for everyone. So I hope everyone can turn on your camera a while. As usual, we have to snap a photo for a recording. And after this, we can end the seminar for today. We have while we waiting our students. So I would like to thank you, Professor Omar, to spend his time for these three continuous seminar, which is two conducted on November last year and one on today. Pro is really busy, but we are fortunate Pro can find a time to help us to share his experience, and I think this one is give us a lot of the guidance on how we present, and I hope all of you can get the idea and the knowledge. Well prepared yourself. You still have one more week. Don't worry. 1 week actually is only enough for you to update or modify your slide and for you to do a practicing before the seminar. Right. So I think now I would like to snap a photo. I saw most of you already turned on camera. All right. So now I'm going to snap for the page number 1 first. So I'm going to the second page. And going to the third page.
How many? Kamika?
We have 120, around 130 students.
Oh, see. Oh, SKM ya. Bukan
Yeah.
bukan SKMO je ataupun
Yeah,
oh, yeah.
SKO is compulsory. SKM